Porn stars of Reddit, what are the dirty secrets in your industry? I get off to some pretty rough stuff sometimes, but it's just fantasy and I always just assumed that for the most part it's acting. The girl was into it. This thread has me really worried about what I've looked at in the past now. I've personally never done it, but I have a friend who runs a fetish website. She asked me to do fetish pregnancy wrestling when I was pregnant. She also asked if I would do some feet stuff. I respectfully declined though. She's told me stories of different fetish stuff she does. She does the smoker's cough fetish stuff and fakes the coughing. She offered me $800 to be on set for 8 hours, not filming the full time, but had to stay around and food was provided for the pregnancy stuff. Never got a full pricing for the feet stuff. The smoker's cough fetish stuff. There really is a fetish for everything, isn't there? I worked as a cam girl for a pretty infamous site years back. It all started out pretty innocent as far as porn goes. I didn't even take my clothes off for the first few weeks. The slow escalation made me some good money, thanks. Anticipation. Soon enough, I gained a stalker. He managed to get my personal information from somebody on the site and I had to deal with it myself with local PD. Nobody from the site had my back and I got fired when I told them I'd be pressing charges on one of their biggest contributors. The charges went nowhere and as far as I know he is still a frequent client on the site. Obvious throwaway. Now X worked for a guy that specialized in foot fetish and tickling videos. Mind you, we did not break up because of this. I actually found it quite amusing. The owner was a pretty positive, nice guy actually, with a very young daughter and a baby mama, who was not quite nice. Secret number 1. There are so many girls that try to get into this underage. He was a stickler for IDing, and if you even forgot your ID the day of filming, you were out. Secret number 2. There could be a film studio in your apartment complex. Next door neighbor. Like it's not exactly fancy studios here. His was a rented apartment next to his real apartment. It's funny, you'd walk in and it's all done up with lighting, various well-made leather bondage equipment. Looks all normal from the outside. Secret number 3. There is paid prostitution. He had one client that would request sex from various girls on the website. After interviewing him and deciding his demeanor, he decided to ask the girl's permission. Everything was good and I know she got like $3K plus USD just to sleep with the guy. Like I said before, the guy that runs this is overall a good dude. He made sure the girls got paid and were safe. Next door neighbor. Many big-name porn stars moonlight as escorts. Not sure how well known that is. Also, so do Instagram models equals fly me to your private party for sex. Not everyone ofs, but it happens. Wasn't something I'd thought about before. We lie to you. We're selling a product, the sex, the persona, whatever. Like actors do press tours. Everything a porn star or any other king of sex worker does on social media is advertising to convince you to buy. So we tell you we love it, that we're all a happy family, that we think you're great and thank you for supporting us. Anything to make you click and pay. You would think I wouldn't have to say this, but unfortunately you're wrong. It's not real a huge amount of the time. We are paid to lie, and behind the scenes it can be very pressurized if you even let a little bit slip that makes things sound less than 100% happy-go-lucky sluts. It's incredibly stressful if you experience a scene you don't want to do but can't really tell anyone because people get pissed off when you ruin their fantasies, or they don't believe you because of the lies the industry sells that we're all about sex all the time. So much abuse. Drug abuse. Emotional blackmail. Rape is more common than anyone wants to acknowledge, and one of the things that made me quit and get intense therapy was the knowledge of how many rape scenes are real. I experienced what was packaged as a rough sex scene. I had bruising and tears and it was traumatizing. I cried in the scene because my partner, who had his own issues to be fair, was too big for me and not acting his roughness. Our buyers enjoyed it. I was told. There are so many victims stuck in the industry. You don't know right away, but then you talk. Or you watch in between filming and you just know. You hear the rumors. Buyers have no idea except in the back of their minds that there are so many abused people stuck in the industry, and they don't want to think about it because it ruins the fantasy. But you have no idea what it does to you when you meet a very young guy glazed out of his poor mind on God knows what, needing drugs to get hard, and underneath it all you realize he's scared and ashamed. Or the women who do so many scenes but who barely see any money from it, kept poor because keeping them poor keeps them stuck in the industry. A lot of people work sick, which is just uncomfortable. So many scenes where someone is hurling into a bucket off camera or running into the bathroom. Fainting isn't uncommon. Weird sensations like numbness or tight chests or muscles, which I guess is drugs or stress or exhaustion. Other stars can be worse than the staff, because if you make the industry look bad, people start asking questions. They might lose buyers and money. They can push you more and sometimes get away with more under the guise of encouragement or protecting their image. Young men from all over Asia are heavily exploited. It breaks my heart. So many of these guys are so young and poor and put into uncomfortable gay male scenes. The trends towards extremer and extremer acts is disturbing and makes me glad I am safe from it. It's worst in gay male and straight scenes. I have no experience of the former because I'm not a guy, but I've heard stories and seen enough footage. It's just not healthy, emotionally or physically, where things are going. People have become normalized and desensitized to previous stuff. It's not enough for them, or it gives them the taste for more, so now gaping. Extreme stretching and prolapse porn is a very hot trend. When you say this stuff, people send you death threats and rape threats. Doesn't matter if you're a guy or girl, you get told the most vilest things. People are terrified of getting violent threats if they speak out about. Anal scenes aren't as glamorous as they appear in the actual videos. I've worked behind the scenes of numerous scenes where during the sex, the filming had to stop because the female or male depending on the scene had to clean up. Which is going to happen every now and then if you're doing anal sex. But professional sites make you think that it's always perfectly clean and free of any number 2 incidences. Not the case. You can't have a party where shit lives and not expect shit to show up. My ex was a cam girl, never really bothered me, was kinda hot to me that my girlfriend was on cam being wanted by all these guys. One fan of hers figured out where we lived in CA and we didn't know how he knew until after. He left her really sick notes on her door. One was the last straw for me. He pretty much promised he'd sneak in her house and make her CNC rape fantasy come true. She did a kinda of armor on her cam one night and admitted to her kink of it. For 2 weeks I never left her side. I'd drive her to work her normal 9 to 5 and pick her up. One night a week was her girls' night where they'd meet up and just hang out. That got cancelled. This dude f***ed up our lives during this time. In 2 weeks we got nothing. No letters. No messages on social media. So she thought he moved on. One night she went out in my car. I'm sitting on the couch when I hear footsteps upstairs. Turns out dude knew I was there and was watching our cars. When my car left he thought she was alone. Mind you, I'm 6, 2,225 and in the military at the time. I beat this dude senseless. Cops come along. They arrest him. At this point I find out how this figured out where my then girlfriend lived. It was the cam site's owner's brother-in-law. Dude would sit in girls' cams he liked and pull up their info and find girls that lived nearby and try to hook up with them. Friend and his girlfriend did camming from home. The payment system was set up in quarters of $500, so you had to make $500 in order to cash out. They didn't get enough clicks. Ended up working a ton and never got paid. I assume this is how sites keep so many newcomers in and out. Some stay. Of course. BC they get popular, but it was pretty sleazy. Buddy was just trying to make an extra $250 before rent was due. I dated a girl a few years back that did online porn for a small company based out of Florida. It was ran by a couple in their late 30s. She only was supposed to do solo stuff, showering, self-pleasure, fake POV, etc. But they began to pressure her to do stuff with the owners on cam, which she was completely against. She got out of the business and had to take the company to court to have all of her videos and pics pulled from their websites. I'll be honest, reading this thread has turned me off of professional porn quite a lot. I wasn't the biggest fan anyways because it always seemed too fake to me, but now Woodrocket has a YouTube channel with the Ask a Pornstar series which will pretty much top anything discussed on this thread. Puke. Shit. Period. Blood. An 8-ball jammed into a vagina. Dick saws. Drugs. Stalkers. Being stranded on a shack in Brazil are the ones I vividly remember. If this is the same thing I watched, there is this one part where a male performer goes on the best rant I've ever heard. Paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of, look, you can't be surprised if you f*** a girl in the butt and some poop comes out. The butt is where poop lives. That's poop's house. You wouldn't go to my house and be surprised when you see me there, would you? I've got 2 friends who work for a sex text company. Horny dudes send texts to a number from the back of a magazine with some hot lady in the photo. My friends flirted back, with a side order of trying to get them to call the presumably more profitable phone lines. They'd talk about what they were wearing, what the men would like to do to them, how horny the text from the customers made them. Both of my friends were dudes. There was a site that hosted porn bloopers and cut footage. I browsed it a few times and found some pretty funny bloopers, but those were a lot less common than the shit showing an actress getting upset because a male co-star hurt her and wouldn't stop when she said he was hurting her. The male actors and some other dudes would usually be snickering and dismissive of the girls. It just makes me wonder how common it is for actresses to be treated that way. I get that they're porn stars, but they signed up to in front of a camera, not be abused. It's disgusting that these women couldn't even trust their coworkers to stop if they're hurting them. I don't know how common it is, but the number of outtakes I saw that followed that theme was really unsettling. And they felt it was fine to include in a bloopers reel, which says it all really.